best-selling book, Case Closed, Lee Harvey Oswald and the Assassination of JFK. By the title, I know how you feel. Is this going to be, what are you looking for in the release of these documents, and do you support it?
Yeah, look, I absolutely support it. It's long overdue that these files were released. The American public has a right to know, Brian, what our government knows about what happened in the assassination of President Kennedy. So I've been advocating for these to be open for a long time. Finally, we have a president who's willing to do it, and it's fantastic. Look, I spoke to you the year you started on Fox and Friends as a co-host, believe it or not, in 1998. We talked about a transfer of 35,000 documents from this commission to the National Archives. Those are the files that we now want out in the public. I can't believe that 27 years later, we finally found a president who's willing to sign the order and say, get them released.
Remember, Gerald, the story was when everyone's dead, we'll find out actually, Connolly and others, we'll find out actually what happened. They died and nothing changed. Mike Pompeo looked at it reportedly and said, it's probably better we don't know. JFK's grandson, upset by this, he came out, he's Caroline's his son, 32 years old. He says, JFK conspiracy theories, the truth is a lot sadder than the myth. A tragedy that didn't need to happen, not part of an inevitable grand scheme. Declassification is using JFK as a political prop. When he's not here to punch back, there's nothing heroic about it. I don't get what he's talking about.
Nor do I. I reread that a couple of times and I just don't understand it. I do know there's a fight inside the Kennedy family over whether they think there was a vast conspiracy, a deep state conspiracy to kill the president and then later RFK. RFK Jr. clearly has Trump's ear, and he's the one who says release the files. Put the family fights aside. It's important for public and for history that we know what happened, and that's why I think these files have to be released.
So Gerald, you read Case Closed. You went in, thought there were other people involved. You came to the conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. But there's other things that could be in these documents, if indeed you are correct, that could also be disturbing. In what way? What might we be seeing?
I think that we could actually find the files that are very embarrassing to the CIA. And one of the reasons they've held on to these for so long, and that is that Lee Harvey Oswald, the fellow who shoots the president, ends up going to Mexico City only 6 weeks before he kills Kennedy. He wants to get down to Havana and to Cuba because he wants to join the Castro Revolution, but he's rejected by the Soviets and the Cubans. And I think the CIA was surveilling him. They knew what he was doing. They knew he was unhinged, that he had taken out a pistol and slammed it on the table at the Soviet mission. And then, Brian, when Oswald came back into the U.S., they didn't tell the FBI. It's the same type of thing that happened on 9/11. When the agencies don't talk to each other, I've suspected this for a long time. Maybe the evidence of it is inside these files.
People say, well, no, it's if LBJ's involved, that would be big enough for everybody to keep it closed. If the mob was involved, same thing. If they're all involved, you just believe that that's going to be a dry hole, but you're open to being wrong.
Right, absolutely. Look, I used to think it was the mafia involved because Jack Ruby, who looks like he's out of central casting for a mafia figure, ends up killing Lee Harvey Oswald, the arrested assassin, only 2 days after he's arrested in police custody. Of course you have to think that looks like a silencing. You go into this suspicious, but in the end, I think there were conspiracies, the mob, maybe Castro, maybe the KGB, they wanted Kennedy dead, but Oswald got there before any of them. He wasn't part of a plot. I think these files won't give what I call the X-Files answer that many people are looking for. But at the end, even if they don't, I think that RFK is going to have Donald Trump and ask him to set up a commission to look for files everywhere in the government. So we may be looking for this for a few more years.
And we want to find out more about MLK. We want to find out more about RFK Jr. And he said, give the pen to Bobby Kennedy. So that's great.
Brian, one of the things interesting about MLK that I'm not sure the president was aware of is it was the Black Caucus, Congressional Caucus, that asked for some of those files not to be released to the public because they were afraid that the FBI surveillance, which was illegal on King, on his personal life, on his sex life, would become public. They don't want those out. So there might be a little tug of war about those as well.
Gerald Posner, thanks so much. You're ahead of the curve, and I know you should be getting a quick preview, I hope. Gerald, thanks so much. We'll have you back when it's out. We should be in a couple of weeks. More Fox.